All right, so today we're going to learn about how to write things on an application form because sometimes it's very confusing. You never know what to write or what this means. Now, we're going to take a look at the International Experience Canada application form.
So it's the form for you to apply for a working visa in Canada, right? Yeah, that's what it says yesterday in our episode. Okay, so at the top of the form, there are instructions that tell you what to do. It says, please complete the following form to apply for your working holiday visa. So right away, you look at this form and it says that you should fill this out if you want a working holiday visa. So you'll know right away, is this the form that you need to fill out? If you don't want a working holiday visa, this is not your form.
Right. You can always look at the title or the top to see if this is the right form for you. And it's also very important to read the instructions because you miss out a lot of information when you skip. All right. So this form, it says, once you press submit, you will be asked to attach all the necessary documents listed in section 1C. Okay, so a lot of things that we need to do. First, we need to submit something, and after we submit, we need to attach documents. All right, so attach is our vocabulary word, and it's spelled A-T-T-A-C-H. It's a verb, and it means to add a document or files to an email or something else. When we talk about attaching files to an email, it doesn't mean we're literally getting, paper and files and trying to stick it onto the computer. It means that we have electronic documents that you find on the computer. Okay, so I'm pretty sure everyone is quite familiar with this now because a lot of things we use on the computer. So all the documents you create are called files. For example, we can use it in a sentence like this. Julia attached her homework to the email and turned it in on time.
Good for Julia.
Yeah.
You always actually kind of see like a little symbol on our emails or even when you're filling out a form, there's like a paper clip. And that's where you can attach the documents that you need to put into your email or into the form, that little paper clip there. Okay, so the form, going back to the form, let's take a look again. It says the form is actually separated into different sections, right? So the first section, it says 1A, personal information. So 1A, personal information. So I guess under 1A, there will probably be a 1B, 1C as well below. Other sections, okay. Let's look at the word information. I-N-F-O-R-M-A-T-I-O-N, information, which is really just facts or details that tell you something about something or somebody. And that's called information. The internet is a good source of information. It has answers to almost everything. Let's use information in an example sentence. You can find information about our company and its products on our website. Now, we also saw the word personal, right? Personal information. Personal is an adjective, and it refers to things that belong to you. So personal information is information that relates to you, like your name, your address, your phone number, your date of birth. This information is your information, not anybody else's.
Your own stuff. All right, so next it says, please fill in the boxes below with your full name, date of birth, address, and marital status. All right, so if you see on the article, we have a kind of like a chart, and now you have to put in the chart, you have to put your name, your date of birth, your address, and your marital status. Now, what is a marital status? Okay, we see this a lot on a lot of forms. It's basically telling people if you're single or if you're married, if you're divorced or widowed. Now, a lot of us, we're still in high school and college. Most of us are still single, so you would tick the single mark. But if you're married, you would choose that one. So marital status just tells you, okay, if you're single, married, divorced, or widowed. Now, divorce just means people, they separate. So they were married and they separated. And widowed means that unfortunately your husband or your wife passed away. So you're still I guess, legally married.
Yeah.
It's just that your husband or wife is not physically with you anymore.
I see. So I guess that's kind of important for the application form. I wonder
Maybe
why,
older
though.
people, or I don't know. It depends on, I think, the type of application that we're applying for.
And I guess for this visa one, maybe they want to know, do you still have family?
Yeah.
In your home country. Yeah. Okay. And then the next section of our form is 1B. So just now I said there's 1A. So after 1A, there will definitely be a 1B, which is family information. Now, the form is asking for information about your family. So this is why in this section we see 1A, personal information, and 1B, family information, because at the top of this application form, it's asking for pretty much the same thing, but they've categorized them differently. So the first one is for yourself, information about you. The second one, because it's also asking for information about you, but about your family, we put them in the same category.
Right. All right. It says, please complete the following boxes for all members of your immediate family, as well as for your spouse and children. So immediate family is just people around you, like your mom, dad, brother, and sister. Okay. If we talk about your relatives, like your cousins and your aunt, they're a little bit on the outside of your family circle. So immediate family is people that you contact or you talk to on a daily basis. Okay, so this would be like your mom, your dad, could be your grandma, grandpa, and your brothers and sisters. And if you're married, of course, your spouse. Okay, we learn. I'll teach you here. Spouse is either your husband or your wife. It's just a proper way of saying it. Saying your husband or your wife. Or if you both have children, you also need to fill that in as well. Okay, we can also call your girlfriend or your boyfriend, your husband or your wife. You can call them your other half. People also say their better half or their partner as well.
And then in brackets, it also did say where necessary. So, if you don't have a spouse or if you don't have children, then obviously you will leave this.
Yeah. You don't have to say anything.
Yeah. So only where necessary means if you have a spouse or if you have children, then fill out the rest of this form. Okay. So the form tells you what you need to fill out. It says include full name, so your entire name, not just Angeline, but Angeline Lee, your full name, your first and your last name, your address, your date of birth, and their relationship to you. So if I had to fill out this form, I'd have to write my mother's full name, for example, because I'm talking about my mother, right? We're talking about my immediate family. So I'm talking about my mother. So I'm going to have to put my mother's full name, her address, which might be different from mine because we might live in a different house, her date of birth, and her relationship to me, which is how are we related? And then under relationship, I would write mother. So when somebody looks at this form, they'll see this person's name and they'll know, oh, this is Angeline's mother.
Right. So it's not really, you don't need to write your best friend's name or your friend's name. You just need to write your family member's name. All right, so next we're moving on our form. So you can follow along. We're moving on to 1C, documents. Okay, so we learned about what documents are. It can be something physical, like something that you write on a piece of paper. Forms are also documents, or application forms are documents. They can also be electronic documents as well. So under 1C documents, it says, please attach scanned copies of the following documents to your application. Scan is spelled S-C-A-N, and it's also our vocabulary word. It's a verb and it means to take a document and to transfer it to be read on the computer. So sometimes if you have a book or you have something in your textbook that you would like to see on your computer, you can scan the page or scan the pages to your computer. So it turns something physical, like a textbook or a book page, into something electronic that you can read on the computer. For example, we can also say, my mom likes to scan all of our family photos onto the computer.
So I guess to scan something just means to copy it, but to copy it onto your computer so that you have a digital copy or an electronic copy. So a hard copy and an electronic copy. That's what the point of a scan Scan. Why you would scan something. And that machine is called a scanner. I don't know if you mentioned it earlier. Okay, so going back to the article, the first thing you need to provide a scanned copy of is your passport information page. Okay, so you're not going to put your entire passport, photocopy your entire passport into the computer. No, you're going to put your passport information page, which is the page on your passport where your personal information and where your photo can be found. So usually on a passport information page, you see a photo, and then beside it, you'll see your full name, your date of birth, and the country that issued the passport, and when it expires, when you got it, that kind of information.
And a lot of other numbers and bars and codes that I don't understand. Yeah, so it's usually on the passport. It's usually on the first or second page. I think in the Taiwan passport, it's like the second page for the new one. I forgot. But usually, yeah, we don't scan the whole book in because in the back it's just your visas and the stamps of immigration. Okay. All right. So what else do they need? We need a bank statement showing that you have sufficient funds to pay for your stay in Canada. So see section 2A for further details. All right, so yes, if you don't understand this part, you don't understand what does this mean? What's a bank statement, or what's sufficient? How much is a sufficient fund? You can go to section 2A to read more about what this part is about. Now, we also see the vocabulary word sufficient. It's spelled S-U-F-F-I-C-I-E-N-T. It's an adjective and it means to have enough of something. So when we talk about sufficient funds, it's like, okay, you have enough money to go to Canada. So this is quite common for working holiday visas because you have to make sure that you can support yourself while you're in a new country, because it's very, 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 very scary if you go to a new country and you don't have any money at all. What are you going to do? So for working holiday visas, they make sure that you have enough money to support yourself at first. Okay, so how do we use sufficient in a sentence? We can say, the doctors had a sufficient amount of blood to save the patient. So they had enough blood to help save the patient's life.
And earlier, Tiffany talked about sufficient funds, funds being our fifth vocabulary word, and you kind of explained this earlier, but just again, we'll say it again. The word funds refers to available money, or money that you can use, okay? So like you said earlier, a country wants to make sure that you have enough money in your bank account before they give you a visa, because they want to make sure that you can support yourself when you're there. They don't want you to go to, say, Paris, and then you're homeless on the street. That would be terrible. And plus, they won't be able to get rid of you. So they need to make sure that you have enough money. And we said available money, which means, you know, sometimes a lot of people, they have money, but it's in a special account. And you can't take that money out. And that money actually wouldn't be the money that they would want, that counts, because they'd be like, well, you can't really take that money out and use it right now. So again, we said available money, which is funds. Okay, remember that there is an S at the end of this word, funds, okay? Without the S, this word means something different. And I'll give you guys a little example of what it is. A fund is an amount of money that is collected for a particular purpose. So the definition is actually quite different.
So different.
Yeah. So a fund, for example, we can say the school started a fund to help the poor. So this is money that the school has collected to help the poor for a particular purpose. Now let's go back to our word funds with the S, because that is our vocabulary word, and let's make a sentence. For example, we can say, I don't have enough funds in my bank account to pay off my credit card bill.
Oh no,
that's bad news.
That's really scary.
That's bad news.
That is a little bit scary. That means we have to try to spend less money.
Or borrow money from Tiffany.
Oh. Okay, sure. Well, I get it. I'll get it back with interest.
Maybe.
That's horrible. All right. So next, in the application form, it says the report of your health check. So remember, we need a few documents. We need the passport page. We need a bank statement, and now we need to have a health check. Okay. So again, it says see section 2B for information concerning what kind of health check is needed. So concerning is our vocabulary word, and it just means about. So the article tells us we need to see section 2B for information. Concerning, we can replace it with about what kind of health check is needed. So we can also say the principal called my parents to have a talk concerning my grades. So the principal called my parents to talk about my grades.
In this section, our article says you will also find a list of approved hospitals in your country that carry out this health check. The phrasal verb carry something out means to do and complete something. For example, the police will carry out an investigation into the deaths of 2 residents in this building, which pretty much means they will actually investigate to see what happened to those 2 people who died in this building. We also saw the word approve again, but this time it's an approved hospital, which means a hospital that has been approved or given permission to carry out this health check. So this is important because you don't want to just go to any hospital. It has to be a hospital that the government approved or that the government says, yes, this hospital can carry out or can do this health check.
Okay, next on the application form says travel insurance details. See section 2C for further details.
And the last document you have to provide is a police report from no more than 3 months ago. So like the other documents, our article says you can see section 2D for further details. So I guess the application form needs to know that you also didn't commit any crimes. You didn't do any crimes for the last 3 months.
Right, you're a good citizen.
Yeah.
So, did you guys apply? Was it easy for you to apply? All right, so we hope it was after explaining this for you. All right, so hang in there. We will be right back with our For You chat.